So, hi everyone. I hope you're doing well today and looking forward to our short session, chanting, meditation, Dharma Talk. The last one for this year 2022. Even though there's no beginning, no end, just continuum. And so, as you know, we're having 3 weeks off, 24th, 31st of December, and the 7th of January, to resume on the 14th. And I just make a note now that I'm hoping that we can keep the same Zoom ID and the passcode as well. But I've sent a message to Lesha to see if that's possible. If it's not, then I'll obviously let you know if there's a new one as well. But I'll keep you informed. And like I said previously, you can continue to send me questions. And even if it's hello, good day, Happy New Year, that type of thing, no problem. And I'll get back to you as soon as I'm online. Okie doke. So let's do the chanting now. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata gati gati para samgati bodhi soha. Tayata gati gati para samgati bodhi soha. Tayata ungati gati paragati parasungati bodhi soha. So just before we do the meditations, I just share with you that when we start the new year, we may take 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks to answer some questions, or if there isn't any new type of questions, or on different subjects than we've already covered recently, then we go straight into the next subject, which is the 8 verses of thought transformation. This is a Tibetan teaching and practice in 8 verses, obviously. And the verses are quite short, 4 lines for each verse, but covering very profound subject. The first 7 of these verses relate to the relative bodhicitta, in a similar way that the first 5 of the paramitas relate to this relative bodhicitta. And then the 8th verse relates to the ultimate bodhicitta, or the wisdom of emptiness, in a similar way to the 6th paramita of prajna paramita, perfection of wisdom. Okay, so we'll do that. And also in between we chant these verses, or I say we, myself, and whoever practices this, normally we chant the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra after every verse. If you're doing them quickly, then you can just do 3 times, or you can do 7 times, or 21 times, or 108 times, or as many as you like. You know, the counting just helps you to stay focused, you know, just similar to when we count the breaths, you know, it's that type of thing. And so I'll give you a little bit of homework. If you can chant, just before you do your silent meditation, chant the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra to plant the seeds in your mind so that you are ready to hear this teaching. This has been done since the 12th century. Okay, so you'll be tapping into all of that. You could say tapping into all of that positive, even enlightened energy and vibes. Okay, so every day I would love you to chant this Om Mani Padme Hum mantra at least 108 times. It doesn't take very long. It's only 6 syllables long, the mantra. Okay, and so if you can do that, that'll be really good. And I've had a look at the verses, the ones that I chant, or the version, which basically comes from my teacher in the Tibetan tradition, Geshe Geltsen, and also his teacher and my teacher, Lati Rinpoche. And so this was the translation that he used, basically, when he taught this sadhana, or this teaching, this tantric practice. And there's just a few words that I changed over time. I can't remember even which ones they were, but it was just for better, for grammatic reasons, not for meaning, because the meaning is already there. But of course, with the English language, we have so many words, so many phrases that we can use to express similar or even the same thing. So I've also accessed another version, another edit of this. So we'll utilize that as well as I'm going to try to find the papers from the last time we taught this, which was probably around about 4 or 5 years or 6 years ago, when we were doing obviously the face-to-face classes, and utilize also the Dalai Lama's commentary from that previous time. And this one that I accessed just a few days ago actually has His Holiness's commentary, but it's really short. It's only like a paragraph for each one. So I'll try to see if I'm pretty sure I've still got the papers from previously. I'll just have to go through my shelves and my cupboards and things down at the island downstairs. So I'll just have a look at that and see if I can find that and utilize that as well. And if not, then I'll just teach off the top of my head, which I'm going to do anyway, utilizing these commentaries as well. Okay, so I just thought I'd mention that. So please chant this mantra. Even you choose, if your choice is to practice the Theravada tradition, for instance. I've heard some Theravada practitioners in the past say, oh, we don't do mantras. Actually, you do. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa is a mantra in the same sense, okay? Yes, it is the verse that we utilize and chant to pay homage, VANDANA, but also can be known as a mantra. Buddham, saranam, gacchami also could be known as a mantra. Mantra means mind protection, okay? And I've expressed that before, I've explained it to you before, so I won't go into detail. And when we utilize our voice and our body to in the chanting practice, we're also obviously engaged in the mind. The mind is always engaged. And so this helps us to calm the mind and to focus the mind. That's why I say do it before you do the breath meditation. The silent meditation is extremely important on our path to enlightenment. But utilize these mantras to be able to calm the mind, but also, like I said, prepare your mind to be able to understand these teachings. And it's also just good daily practice. You can also utilize this mantra, like let's say, for instance, you accidentally kill something. Let's say you stepped on an insect or something like that. Then say, oh, mani padme hum, mani padme hum, mani padme hum, and wish that this living being have a fortunate rebirth. Dedicate your merits to that living being. And so if we engage in the practice like this constantly, then we are constantly practicing Dharma. Not just about keeping the mind upright, but also engaging actively in realizing, for instance, that the living beings are around us right now. So even if you don't step on something, you can still think, oh, mani padme hum, mani padme hum, mani padme hum. Or if you don't do that, then just have the thought, you wish that this living being attain higher rebirth and come into contact with the Dharma. And as you do this, you increase the habit of practicing like this. So these 3 weeks off that we have, don't let it make you lazy, okay? Just encourage yourself to continue to practice, even through difficult times or confusing times, or those busy times. Okay, continue to practice. And so now in saying that, we're going to practice meditation. And then we will continue this discussion that I've kicked off already and answer the questions that I mentioned to you last week too. So get yourself comfortable, nice and relaxed, and release the tension from your body. Releasing the tension from your feet, all the way up your legs, to your shoulders, down to your fingers, and then back up to the top of your head. All of the parts of the body. You should know your body well by now by practicing this type of meditation. And you should know those areas actually that do tense up easily because of your habits. So pay specific focus to releasing the tension from those areas. If you find it hard to do so, then deep in breath and long out breath and release the tension on that long out breath. And now scan your body once more to see if there's any leftover tension and release that. When you are ready, bring your focus now to your breath. Place your mind on the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose all the way into your lungs and then back out your nose again. If thoughts arise as you're doing this practice, don't cling to them or grasp at them. Also, don't try to forcefully push them away. or deny them, but let them go naturally by replacing the mind back onto the breath. And if your mind starts to become dull and fuzzy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. This way, replacing your mind back onto your breath is the antidote for the agitated mind as well as the dull mind. If you'd like, you can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths as mentioned. One in breath, one out breath. It's one and so on. But if you get distracted on the way to counting to 10, and don't count past 10. If you get distracted on the way to counting to 10, then go back to 1 at that time. So let's practice like this for a little bit in silence. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves for engaging in this short session of breath meditation and fill ourselves with universal loving kindness, either just with the feeling, or you can utilize visualization, filling your whole being with white light or white nectar. And now radiate this loving kindness out to others, initially to your loved ones, filling them with the white light or nectar, universal loving kindness as well. Wishing that they are happy, free from suffering, and that they are peaceful. And also to strangers, likewise. And to those we find difficult, may even regard as enemies, may all of these people be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. And now let's extend this loving kindness out further distance-wise, initially starting around your immediate area, to all living beings, whether they fly through the air, live on the land, or even under the land, live in the waters, whether they are born from wombs, from eggs, from moisture, or through transformation. Further and further now to include your whole state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. To all of these living beings, the innumerable living beings that live throughout your country. All sentient beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born. Extend the loving kindness to all these living beings. And now throughout other countries, throughout the whole world. And in the oceans, and all the way to the center of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. And continue like a tidal wave of loving kindness. Gathered so much momentum now, continue to radiate this loving kindness out further and further to other planets throughout this solar system and other solar systems throughout the galaxy and other galaxies throughout the universe, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. While also at the same time, be present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body, Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. And so the 8 verses of thought transformation, as mentioned many times, is going to be the next subject. And so maybe I'll recite it quickly now. 8 verses of thought transformation. With the wish to attain enlightenment for the welfare of all sentient beings who are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, I will constantly practice holding them dear. Whenever I'm with others, I will practice seeing myself as the lowest of all, and from the very depth of my heart, I will respectfully hold others as supreme. In all actions, I will examine my mind. The moment a disturbing attitude arises in danger of myself and others, I will firmly confront and avert it. Whenever I meet a person of bad nature who is overwhelmed by negative energy and intense suffering, I will hold such a rare one dear as if I had found a precious treasure. When others out of jealousy mistreat me with slander, abuse, and so on, I will practice accepting defeat and offering the victory to them. When someone I have benefited and whom I have placed great trust hurts me very badly, I will practice seeing that person as my supreme teacher. In short, I will offer directly and indirectly every benefit and happiness to all beings, my mothers, and in secret I will take upon myself all their harmful actions and sufferings. Without these practices being defiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, by deceiving all phenomena as illusory, I will practice without grasping to release all beings from the bondage of the disturbing, unsubdued mind and karma. So you can take those words as face value, but actually they're much deeper than that. Okay, to do with transforming the mind away from selfishness, away from the belief in this permanent self as opposed to the permanent other self. A way of transforming your mind towards enlightenment. As I say, First we tame the mind, then we train the mind, then we transform the mind, and eventually transcend the mind. Once we transcended the mind, this is enlightenment. Okay, so I mentioned before the end of the year, and then at the end of the year, there's the beginning of another year, apparently. Isn't it crazy, especially Western countries, this time of year, people go crazy, running around, causing themselves so much trouble, so much expectation and attachment and aversion, and especially during the pandemic time, people still going to shops and crowded places and catching it and spreading it. And unfortunate, very unfortunate. This is a time of year, I guess for the Western countries especially, you have a celebration. If you are Christian, for instance, then this is celebration of the birth of your teacher. So maybe party's not the way to go about it. I don't know. Although eating too much, drinking too much, things like this, maybe actually it's more about self-reflection. But maybe not many people would like me to say that. So the craziness really has to do not so much with their celebration of their beginning of their religion, you could say, but more to do with consuming, and a lot to do with advertising and selling stuff and buying stuff and putting pressure on ourselves a lot. And got to buy the right gift. If you don't buy the right gift, spend the right amount of money, then maybe someone else will get upset even though they got a gift. So all of this stuff, I think, is a little bit crazy. But, in saying that, it is a time that most countries, especially in the Western world, would be on holidays, especially in Australia because it's summertime. But, so maybe it is a good time to spend with the family. I encourage anybody, if anybody's listening to this, even non-Dharma practitioners, just encourage you to do it with a calm mind, do it positively, to be a good influence with others. Rejoice in your connection, family connections, friends connections. And it's likewise with the new year. There's really nothing new. I mean, 12 o'clock comes about, they go, just before that, they go 10, 9, yay, and kind of go crazy. But actually nothing happened really at that time apart from you going crazy. And so human beings, we tend to try to make things sound so exciting when actually nothing different happened. You could say that there's nothing new, but also everything new. Every moment is a new moment, but of course it's conditioned by the previous moments. So it's not new. So it is and it isn't. Both is and it isn't. It is neither is or isn't. It's 4 ways to contemplate. Okay, so during this time we have off, just try to calm yourself, relax yourself. Don't go catching this virus as much as people like to say, oh, it's going to become like the flu. No, it's very different. It's a very different beast, to use a metaphor. At least 1 out of every 8 people actually have long-term illnesses related to this. I'm not talking about long COVID now. That's a different thing. That brings it up to about 1/4. It's actually, lung problems, heart problems, brain problems, things like brain bleeds and stuff like that. Okay, so also I just thought at the moment, I think he didn't confirm with me whether this actually happened, but John, the student John, nicknamed Bushy John, he's the artist, the long beard. That's why they, I think, maybe call him Bushy John, long time nickname. He's unfortunately, it looks like, had a heart attack. And so he's actually gone to hospital to have some surgery. He did text me a few times. On Thursday this happened. He did text me today, so I was happy to hear from him today. And he said he looks like he has to have another surgery. So he didn't confirm whether it was a heart attack or something else related to the heart. So may all of our wishes, dedication, be towards his speedy recovery, a full recovery as well. What else can I say? So basically, this new year, I mentioned here in my little notes, no end, no beginning. So end of the year, no end. Beginning of the year, no beginning. just continuum, just cycle. When something ends, becomes something else, isn't it? And that's physical phenomena as well as mind phenomena. So you could say that this idea of time, past, present, future, this idea of this year, next year, last year, all of this type of thing is actually mental phenomena. It's made up by the mind. And then, so we have a belief in that, then we take it into the next moment. Unless we contemplate it and break through and go, okay, conventionally it's there, kind of, but ultimately not. So if we know this, we are free from it then, aren't we? Free from worrying about it, free from worrying about the end, free from worrying about the beginning, free from all of these pressures that we put on ourselves during these times. Well, I don't, but I think you know what I mean. It's all conditioned, so conscious continuum, as well as the continuum of physical things throughout the known universe and beyond. This is conditioned by cause and effect. This is all mental and physical phenomena, both individual as well as collective. So individual as related to your own conditions, the mental conditions, physical conditions, and all of the other individuals as well, likewise, but also collectively. In the big picture, the whole universe is the result of the collective karma of all living beings within the universe. And it's likewise if there's other universes. Also here and now, in your village or your city or whatever, the suburb, this is a result of the conditions here, the result of the collective karma of all the living beings that live here. Okay, so once again, I guess the teaching on karma. So I think that'll do for that. I mentioned already that, I'm hoping that we'll keep the same ID and the same passcode, but I'm not sure if that's possible. I'll let you know. So we'll be back on the 14th of Jan. That's those notes done. So back to the questions, and related to some of my shorter teachings, very cryptic type teachings. Of course, even though I came up with these phrases myself, they are based on the Buddha's teachings, my teachers' teachings, the great masters throughout the ages. So we really don't, once again, we don't make anything up from scratch, do we? This is from influence from others. Okay, so unveil your Buddha nature. Very simple. I'll explain again. The subject is not simple. It's the deepest, very deep. But looking at it from the point of view of the quote or the teaching, very simple, isn't it? You unveil your Buddha nature. You have Buddha nature. Everybody, every single living being has the potential to be a Buddha, to be enlightened. We must unveil this by practicing the Dharma. What to pick up, what to put down. Abandon the causes of suffering, adopt the causes of happiness, to create the conditions for you to be able to break through all of this. Okay, to go beyond, to perfect the paramitas, and go beyond eventually to what we call enlightenment. Okay, you have it already. Just like if we have a diamond under the dirt, you uncover it, you find a diamond, you polish it. It's a diamond, beautiful diamond. So our Buddha nature, if we don't unveil our Buddha nature, it's like you have this diamond underneath the earth, but you just continue to pile earth on and other things as well. And then you go through your life very poor. I'm not talking about poor now, money-wise, but just without the practice of the Dharma, without being able to teach yourself that you can unveil the truth, unveil your Buddha nature. So that's the first one. Next one, clean your window, even though the window's already clean. You know this teaching. I've mentioned it many times, even in these Zoom classes. If you buy a window, it's just a window. It's not clean nor dirty. But of course, the dust and the dirt forms on the window. You have to clean it. Just like the enlightened mind, if you use the word mind for convenience now. Enlightenment or the enlightened mind is just like that window. It's enlightenment. But we have all of these mental afflictions reinforced over lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. We have to clean it. We have to purify this mind, which leads me on to the next quote. Purify your mind, even though it's already pure. So it's the same concept, same spirit, okay? You have the potential to do this. It may be hard sometimes, but easier other times. The more you practice, the more momentum you create for your practice, the more it becomes natural to do so, the more it becomes joyful to do so. Okay, so that's that one. There is enlightenment, but no enlightenment is there. The enlightenment is inside you already. Once again, I mentioned you already have the Buddha nature. You already have the enlightenment. You can't find it outside. You can't get it from anybody else. You can't get it from the Buddha. Okay, the Buddha teaches us the methods to be able to unveil the Buddha nature. Like I mentioned before many times, the horizon, you want to go to the horizon, you get there, what you think is the horizon, then you look back and the horizon is exactly where you were before. So enlightenment is with you here and now. But we have a bit of work to do, I think. Okay, joyfully. Sometimes work harder. Sometimes take a break, but keep your mind upright, good intentions. You know, so there's that one done. Empty your cup so it can be filled with the truth. So basically, empty your mind of all of your likes and dislikes, all the mental afflictions, so that you can realize the truth. Once again, very similar to the other quotes. There's a Zen teaching about this. I've only got 2 minutes left, so I'll be really quick and I'll paraphrase drastically. A Zen master was visited by a scholar, Buddhist scholar, who had so many good things of the Dharma, memorized the whole of the Tripitaka, the 3 collections of the Buddha's teachings. He went to the master, said, Master, I want to teach you to teach me about meditation. The master looked at him, said, would you like a cup of tea? Yes, please. Okay, so then the master made the tea and started pouring the tea, and overfilled the cup. The tea went everywhere, all over the scholar, all over the table. The scholar said, Master, it's already full. Master said, just like your mind. Empty your cup so it can be filled with the tea. Empty your mind so I can teach you. So we are filled with our what do you call it? Our own opinions, and everything we think we've learned before blocks us from understanding things here and now, especially the profound teachings. Another Zen teaching, heaven and hell. This master was visited by a general from the army. The general, very aggressive, said, Master, can you teach me about heaven and hell? The master said, what do you do for a job? He says, I'm a general. He said, you look more like a butcher. You look more like a crazy man. And so he took his sword out, went to chop his head off, and he said, here lies the gates of hell. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, Master. And here lies the gates of heaven. So heaven and hell are not places to go to. Sometime in the future, they're here right now. Depends on your attitude and your intentions. So I know we're going to finish very quickly, very soon. I rejoice in your goodness. Sorry, I had to rush those last little points, but look up those teachings and contemplate them. Okay, so I'll see you very shortly. It won't take too long. Nothing new.